Zillow just dropped a bomb on the real estate industry, banning all private listings. And today I'm going to cover why agents and brokerages are furious and what this means for your home's exposure. As today, I have some big developments that are shaking up the real estate world. And trust me, these changes are going to impact everyone, whether you're a buyer, seller, or an investor. As Zillow has launched a controversial strike against private listings, and the National Association of REALTORs is rolling out a new MLS policy designed to give sellers more flexibility. So let's dive into all this and let you know what's happening. First off, let's start by understanding what's happening with Zillow right now. And recently, Zillow took a strong stance against private or those so-called pocket listings, those exclusive properties that are marketed quietly within a brokerage before they actually get out to the public MLS for everybody else. And according to Zillow's new rule, if a home is marketed publicly in any way, just being a yard sign, or maybe you're doing a quick social media teaser, it must hit the MLS and platforms like Zillow within one business day. And if not, Zillow's stance, they're trying to ban those listings from being published on their site. And this policy is supposed to go into effect May 1st for both Zillow and Trulia. And EXP has already committed to this policy as well. And Redfin has also stated that it will adopt a similar policy too. Now, why is Zillow doing all this? Their goal is transparency. And Zillow believes everyone should have an equal access to the listings, and eliminating those hidden barriers that are going to keep buyers in the dark. And let's face it, more transparency generally means more competition, potentially driving a better outcome for sellers. And I'd like to know, how do you feel as a seller about this? And most sellers, I would believe, want their homes marketed to the masses, but I'd like to know your thoughts, so give me some comments down below. Now, obviously, not everyone's happy about Zillow's policy. Companies like Compass, they've strongly advocated for the continued use of private listings, emphasizing seller choice and potentially higher sales prices due to exclusivity. On the flip side, brokerage giants like Redfin and EXP, like I said earlier, they support Zillow's approach, prioritizing transparency and an equal market access for everyone. And this clash really highlights that tension between seller flexibility and buyer fairness. And another company, CoStar, this company is a parent company of Homes.com, and according to an article that I just read too in Housing Wire, a letter sent to agents over the weekend by CoStar CEO Andy Florence called the move by Zillow, quote, a pure power play of epic proportions. And he noted that delayed IDX syndication is always allowed under NAR's new MLS rule, and Zillow is asserting that they, not NAR, not your brokerage, not your listing agent, and not even you as the homeowner whose house it is and is paying that commission, should decide how a listing is marketed. Now, this isn't about protecting consumers, Florence went on to write. It's about protecting Zillow's ability to profit from your listings by selling your leads to competing agents. Even if just a few agents hold back from listing on Zillow, they seem to think that the buyers are going to quickly follow suit and they're going to stop searching there. And rest assured, he goes on to say, if Zillow does block the listings, it will be seen on Homes.com and the other sites. And speaking of other sites, if you go and you just search Google for the top real estate websites that people use, Zillow is number one everywhere you look. I mean, it's almost 90 million hits a month, according to SEMrush. And number two is Realtor.com at almost 30 million. And Homes.com, that he said is going to be one that everybody's going to go to, That is down around number 5 and not even close, and it's under 15 million views a month. So just think about all that for a minute. Now let's flip over to the National Association of Realtors. They're introducing their own major update called the Multiple Listing Options for Sellers. And this new policy gives sellers more choice on how and when their property hits the market. It also introduces what's called delayed marketing exempt listings, which actually allows sellers working closely with their agents to delay the public marketing of their property on platforms like Zillow or Realtor.com while still making it accessible to, say, other MLS participants. But here's the catch. If a seller chooses this delayed option, they must sign a disclosure actually acknowledging the trade-offs, specifically the temporary loss of public visibility through the syndication and the IDX feeds. And then when it goes online, you as a seller need to know that Zillow, per that new policy, they may not show your property on its platform at all. And think back to what I just told you about. Where is the number one most searched site for people looking for homes online? It's going to be interesting to see what goes on there. Just my opinion, I still think the sellers, they get to have a lot to say, but they don't either, just because it's more these brokerages having the battle between their policies on one side and, say, Zillow's on the other. So going to be interesting. And speaking of interesting, here's where things get really interesting. Zillow demands immediate transparency, while NAR offers a flexible yet structured approach. Now, this creates a complex landscape for agents and sellers alike. In Zillow's policy, now that could limit the traditional exclusivity some sellers desire, whereas NAR's approach gives them room to strategize. And the big question becomes, what does this mean for you as a buyer or a seller? Well, if you're a buyer, Zillow's move means fewer hidden gems out there, homes that you never knew existed because they never made it publicly, and it could make your home search easier and more complete. And for sellers, NAR's new MLS policy actually allows you more control. And maybe you're not quite ready for those flood of showings, or perhaps you want a private, exclusive feel to your listing initially. The delayed marketing exemption lets you set the pace, but you'll need to work closely with your agent to manage expectations about visibility and potential impacts on price. Now, both policies reflect broader discussions about transparency, fairness, and efficiency in the real estate market. And with over 500 MLSs across the United States, each with its own approach, some experts argue for a standardized set of rules to avoid confusion. And the Zillow and NAR moves be early indicators of bigger regulatory shifts coming our way. And go figure on that. Seems like we always have some type of regulation coming our way now, don't we? And as an agent and an investor, on my end, my advice is simple. Just stay informed with all this. And again, you'll just have to try to adapt to everything and understand how these rules impact your local market and just leverage them to your advantage. And what I mean by leveraging to your advantage, make sure that you work with a good real estate agent that's done a lot of deals and they're well versed in everything so they can make the moves that they need to do to get your home exposed no matter what the outcome of all this is. And if you need somebody to talk to, contact links down below. I'd love to set you up with somebody. But anyway, that's your deep dive into Zillow's controversial policy and NAR's new MLS options. And I'd just like to know, what do you think? Are these moves good, bad for real estate? Don't you, as a seller, want your home to be marketed to more than actually less? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And also, if you found this video helpful, please share it with somebody that could benefit from it. And also, stay tuned for this next video that I have coming up next.